I think comparing yourself to people is one of the worst ways that you can lower your self-esteem. And for example, I may want to make the amount of money that somebody else is making, but I don't want to do what they're doing to get it. Or I just don't want to do what they're doing, period. I'm not interested in their craft or their hobbies and etc. Right? Another thing would be I don't like the type of girls that they date. I have my own preferences. So the reason why I say it in this way is because you may think that you want what other people have until you get to understand them, until you put yourself in their shoes and you know what they're doing to achieve that. Some people are working 6 days a week to achieve what they have, right? And they have a smile on their face, and God bless them, supporting their families, etc. But you may not want to do that. Or you may want to do that, but you don't want to do what they are doing. You understand what I'm saying? You shouldn't compare yourself to people, because I always believe that what one does or doesn't do serves a purpose. And the things that you do may serve a purpose in their life as well. And they may admire you for doing what you love to do that they may not love to do. You know, it's a whole bunch of different combinations. But basically, when you start to think like that and you start to stop comparing yourself to other people, you have more mental space and energy to create an imagination and a vision for your life and your future. But you have to own the present moment, because a lot of people I see are living in the future, which is amazing. A lot of geniuses do, right? But like to really be in the flow is to do everything in the present moment. When you see the sushi chef, you know, making sushi, the chef, you know, chopping up the food with the knife really fast, they're in the flow. They don't have to think so much about it. They're just doing. To be in the flow is to do. An action created, the foot on the acceleration. And I feel like for me, what's kind of like boosted my self-esteem is just the act of taking action. And to say that I failed, to say that I succeeded, are two beautiful things for me to say. You see, it's a belief system. I had to change the way that I saw bad luck, because sometimes bad luck is good luck disguised in as a blessing. You know, I saw this thing on Robert Kiyosaki. He was telling the audience that when his friend's father passed away, when his friend's father, his granddad, passed away at 13 years old, he had to drop out of school to work on the family business. And everybody's just like, you know, freaking out. But like, then he starts to chuckle and he says, you know, it's actually good luck, because now he's a millionaire. I think a billionaire, you know. And it's just the way that people have to perceive rejection and stuff, and certain setbacks in their life. And that's exactly what I did. I turned nothing into something, and I created opportunities for each circumstances that I went through, because I started to use my imagination. I saw a maze, and I saw an aerial view top down of my life, and I saw obstacles, and I saw that, you know, there's always a way to get through and around underneath the cave in the ground, going past, and all these type of things in life. And, you know, as a person that really believes in speaking about my thoughts and feelings to others, and that especially have a problem with me, or that, you know, I have a problem with, etc., I always had a heightened sense of self-esteem from that, because a lot of people just can't do that. You know, sometimes I start to hear about things that are negative about me after the fact. You never really know how people feel until after they get angry. You know, I hate that. You know, who wants to like have a dinner and everybody's having a good time just to hear something about you about so and so said person. It's like it's very interesting to me. But I had to accept that. I have to accept things for what it is and accept people for who they are. And when I started to understand myself better, I started to know that maybe if the subconscious mind is what creates our reality, they say, well, then maybe my subconscious mind always wanted to be stronger, faster, and smarter and handle situations better, so that what I want is actually attracting people to tell me and teach me certain things. My friend back in May on my birthday, he was saying to me that your father and fathers in general only teach you the things that they know how, the only way that they know how to. They might hand you a fishing pole and tell you to go fish because that was the way that they were taught. They don't verbally communicate to you how. And that was legitimately how I was raised. You know what I mean? Because actions speak louder, and I feel like people kind of like take that for granted, because the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because it's exactly what I want to do. And a lot of people want to do what I'm doing but aren't doing it. So they're watching me, and I want them to be inspired when they see this. You know what I mean? So what I'm trying to say is, on a human level, there's no difference between me and them. It's just me doing it. It's just the act of doing something that's different than a person that just talks about wanting to do something but are too afraid to put themselves out there. I wanted to put myself out there to the point where, like, I wanted to see the finish line, like who really is meant for me in this world right now, and who really needs to leave. People I've been seeing come back around and apologize to me, and it's really interesting because I've been calling some people out on observing their patterns and making detailed sentences saying what they will do and most likely say, because I've observed them for so long with these negative traits towards me, trying to comment something negative on my post, or bring some chaos and drama into my life, right? And it's crazy because they exactly do what I predicted that they would. And you don't want to be in that category, you know what I mean? Not to say that anybody has to do anything to prove something, but you want to look at yourself and your bad patterns and behaviors and do the best that you can to fix and overcome that. Because people notice these things, whether you deny it or not. And if you can develop bad habits, you can develop equally just as great of habits. And one of the things that I do, especially in 2020, I did the things that I've never done before. For example, this microphone. I've never done this before in my life. I never bought this black light in my life. I never owned one in my entire life. And everything that I'm doing currently is brand new to me so much, and it's something that I always wanted to do for so long. Some of it I had no idea, but many of the things that I'm doing now, it took years. And it's just a really beautiful thing. When something that comes naturally, like I really feel like people need to let go of their control towards the outcome of someone in their life. I really don't believe in handcuffing a chick or trying to force somebody to stay when they don't really belong there. But a lot of people do that, and a lot of people don't either. And I'm really proud of y'all. For the ones that have a hard time with attachments and possessiveness, like, you really have to ask yourself if like they're staying around you, are you really happy inside? And I feel like everybody's so different and complex. Like, maybe somebody will be happy with that person's presence at the expense of someone crossing their arms around them and upset to be there. But the energy, I can only imagine the tension in the air, and that's something to be aware of too. My father, You know, my mother was telling my father, you can't move here, or you got to do this and that. And my father was like, this is my life. I do what I want. I guess you could say like father, like son. But, you know, when he told me that, I was like, damn, man, like you go through this too? You know, and I just feel like people need to like really talk about things like that, like the vulnerabilities and the things people go through, especially to their children and kids. You know, and another thing, it's pretty funny. In my family, I actually have a better time spending it with children and my little cousins, and the purity is such a good feeling to be around that gets overlooked a lot. And I really think that that feeling that I feel is something that I look for in somebody and more people around me. And that's exactly what I attracted. People that live with the heart and do things from the soul, and therefore aligning with their path a lot more easily and more accurately from that place. Therefore intertwining with me, crossing paths with them on the fork road. And here we are building together. And I will say that 2020 has been such a beautiful year for me because of that. I've in doing the things that I love, by putting myself out there into the world, I have attracted people to see my work and what I do with my actions that inspires them, which they equally inspire me, if not more, to be a better person. And these are the type of connections that I love, and I don't even look for it anymore. They find me.